All right. Good morning, Sunday morning at the San Francisco Summit, part 2.
Yeah, best pronunciation.
Yeah.
Hurt.
The first good, do it right.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about circling, which is a technique, but also not really a technique once you do it a bit. It's like it's a stripping away of a lot of bullshit. And when you were talking yesterday, Sean, I was I got reminded that a lot of the things like that helped me were like letting go of a lot of things, and so with circling is like meditation with people. It's like how I like to describe it, and it's just tuning into the present moment. Like it's a slowing down. I look into your eyes right now. It's something is slowing down, and it's really just noticing a lot of things you wouldn't notice in normal interactions. And then it's really like anything come up, like sensations in the body. Like I notice now that like even speaking to a lot of things, they come up as you speak. It's like when I say sensations, I notice, oh yeah, I'm a little bit nervous, and I didn't even notice until now. And just acknowledging that is also like there's something freeing in that. Like whatever is coming up is fine, and that can be negative stuff. And it's like, and a lot of like the focus is a lot on just speaking from your own experience. Like I'm just speaking from like what is happening for me right now, and it's and I've embraced like it. It's very hard to describe, but there's a freedom like doing this with people. It's like that's one of the things. Like it's very hard to describe, and as I'm talking now, I'm trying to think what we could like if we could actually do like a little like exercise. So there's different there's different like kinds of circling. So for example, there's what is called focus circling, which would be the focus would be on one person, and everyone would bring their attention to that person, and then that person would be the focus, and everyone could just bring what happens as they focus on that person. And it can be like, especially when you do it for the first time, there's a lot of attention on you, and everyone brings what is happening in relation to the person being in the focus. And I don't know, like I'm naturally just looking at you right now. So that, like, for example, that would be like, and then it would be very much in the present moment. I would just think, oh yeah, there's like something, my attention is naturally going to you right now. And that was probably because I was talking. But so that's one circle. Another kind of circle is like a group circle. And then everyone would just, And as I'm talking to it, I again notice like my attention shifts, like, and that's like this kind of noticing is like, is a big part of circling, just noticing what is happening in the present moment. And like when the whole group, it would basically be like the whole group would be the focus, and then it's like whoever notices something would speak. So that would be like more of a group circle. So I don't know, and a lot of it is about like the intelligence of the collective. Like I feel it now. It's like whatever would arise in the moment would happen. Like I'm just checking in, like what is going on, and it has helped me so much in so many ways, but also especially with women, like this slowing down. Like, and a lot of people do this naturally, but like I struggled with this kind of connection, like. And this slowing down has helped me so much just to tune in, and the nervousness is not there. Like I would, if I had talked like this like 3 years ago, I would have been so nervous. And now it's only when I bring attention to my body, like, I am a little bit nervous. And then it's like, it's really like a decision where you want to focus. And it's more like sensations, feelings, and a lot of thoughts as well. And everything is welcome, like the negative stuff, the positive stuff. And I'm doing it like it has become a practice. Like I do focus circles with people or group circles, and like my life has transformed just doing this. Like I feel so much more grounded and flowy. Like I feel a flowiness, like just also being accepting of my movements, like my body's movements. It's like it sounds a little woo-woo at the beginning. I was a little but it's really, it's not, it's just, it's like, it's just being in the present moment, and like I think that is grounding for everyone. And then there are certain personality types that do that naturally. Like for them it's easy to relate to people, and for me that has helped me so much. Yeah, I think that's a good summary. I don't know if is anything coming up for any of you as I was talking. Any questions or?
How did you learn all that? Like, you are very present, and how did you said 3 years ago it would have been rough for you, and now it's easy. Like, how did you learn?
Yeah, it's not really learning, it's an unlearning. Like, it's the unlearning of like relating to your mind so much. Like most people think they are like what is happening in their head, like their thoughts. And like I was in my head too much. It's like there's a shift going from here in the head to further down. I think a lot of like.
How did you get that idea? Like, oh, I need to get out of my head and more down here and more. Like,
I think I became aware of my awkwardness more. Like in my early 20s, I wasn't even aware like that I wasn't really connecting to people. It wasn't in my focus. Like I was just busy doing the things that I was interested in, and there was a lot of nerdy, strange stuff. But I loved it, and I wasn't focused on women. I was in my head, and like it was. Yeah, and like a lot of like I got a lot of reactions that I didn't even understand. Like I was this weirdo, and like I went to parties, but it was never really fulfilling. I felt like I was the guy standing in the corner being shy and awkward and observing everyone, and then like and then being with the observations in my head. And you can imagine like you can't really connect to people when you just stand there awkwardly. And it's also like I didn't know how to initiate conversation. Like I didn't know what to do. A lot of the times it's like, and then it's like a vicious circle. You don't know what to do. Then you go into your head, have all these thoughts. Oh, what am I going to do now? And then it's like, it gets more and more difficult to initiate conversations. And whatever I was doing, I felt weird. I would still talk to people, but most of the times it would be people coming to me. So I would just stand there and then people come, and then it's easier. Like you just let people come into your life. I still have that tendency, but it's like I can now also, I'm in my own power. I can, when I like someone, I don't have to hope that they come to me. I just go over and talk to them. And it's like, yeah, and I don't know how that happened really. Like it's almost like there's a button. Yeah, when you were talking yesterday, at times I was like, wow, does it really go that quickly? And then I went into, I mean, obviously a lot of it is also practice. Like the more you are with people, the easier it gets. But it's also like when there's this shift, it's so cool. And then it's really like forgetting about the head stuff a bit more. Like, yeah.
I'll just say, while you're doing this, I'm going to be checking my phone because Brent's downstairs, so just ignore me totally. Yeah, just keep going.
You can check.
No, he's not on the group chat. That's the problem. There we go.
Cool. Yeah, so I don't know what's coming up for me. It's like, yeah.
I was going to say that circling, it seems like it would work really well for you because like you're talking about like looking at each other's eyes and stuff, and your eyes are very unusual in America. Like that color, I don't want to give too much away, but that color is very unusual, and it's like kind of mesmerizing, and that's something you'll read like women will talk about that, like that particular eye color that you have is like women will say, oh yeah, he's got this, and that's like particularly mesmerizing. So especially for circling, that's very interesting to look at your eyes because it's a very unusual color. That is cool.
Yeah, as you were saying that, like I had this big revelation, I think I was 29, 30, about eye contact. And that tells me like I wasn't aware even of like how powerful it is to look into people's eyes. There's so much information there. And I was avoiding it. And it's, yeah. And I can't even, like, I think you mentioned that a few times. You can't be aware of all the stuff you didn't do. It's like, I am aware of what I didn't do, but it's still like, I don't know how I was I would love to meet like the 22-year-old me and see how awkward it really was. Maybe it wasn't, I can't know. Like, but it's like, yeah, and it's so freeing to not feel that awkwardness anymore, to just drop into whatever's happening. And then that's pure freedom. Like that, not worrying. And I think that's like a lot of the pickup artists were into circling at some point, like in their lives. There's a connection there. There was actually, it's like with women, a lot of guys feel that, like that strangeness. I feel with everyone, and no, not everyone was as awkward as me, but every guy has the tendency, like in the presence of a beautiful woman, to feel that kind of, I don't even know what word that would be. Like there's something like, there's a self-consciousness coming from that.
That's one of the fundamental, the PUA things is that what you said there, I'm sure you know, but it's like not just taking what is given to you. So you're in a party and someone comes up to you. It's like, no, I see somebody I want to talk to and I'm going to go over there and, you know what I mean, get in a relationship or meet this person, have sex, whatever it is. I'm going to open up this person, find out who they are, you know, if I want to be with them, right? So it's that not accepting, just standing there in a passive role. And really, it's very feminine. The passive role is the feminine role. You understand? She literally accepts the man, right? And that's the feminine role. So when you're sitting there as a man, a lot of guys do this. They just sit around and they're waiting for someone to talk to them. And that's not the role you want to be in as a guy. That's not your role as a man. It really isn't. I don't say a lot of rules, but I say as a man, absolutely. Your job is to go out in the world and make shit happen for yourself. It absolutely is. And those kids that are rich kids and they wait for their parents their whole lives, that is, you can see it in them. It's just not good for them, right? A man has to go out. He has to approach, whether it's jobs, life, countries. You know, we can not like it as much as we want, right? We can say our personality is this or that, but it still doesn't matter. Our role as a man is to be active and go up and talk and do the thing and take the risk, you know? And the society never appreciates the importance of that role. So a lot of girls, especially lesbians, make videos about the difficulty in approaching, because they'll say, I never knew how difficult it was. And guys, you know, girls will say mean things to me and they'll make videos that all the guys are like, yeah. Because it is so difficult because you're putting yourself out there. Right? So yeah, that is a fundamental. And that's one of the things I really connected with PUA, because I thought, don't just accept what people are doing. And that's one thing I like too, is that you have to get out of yourself and do it, right? When you're watching a YouTube video, you can just sit there. But whether you're MGTOW, PUA, whatever, MRI, whatever you are, whatever you consider yourself or nothing, just a free man, you can't be a passive person in this planet. Go out there and you can, and just feel your gut, like you say, the need for a man to go out there. So it's funny because circling, I was thinking it was more of a soft feminine. You're saying, no, you circle so that you have the power to approach. And that's interesting. That's surprising.
Yes. I had a thought that I lost now. What also came up for me as you were talking is like, a lot of people talk about this non-attachment to outcomes. And that's so easy to say. Like, how do you, like, and it's like, you can tell yourself that like endless and it doesn't change anything. It's like, it's about that state change. Like when one core component of circling is like, whatever is happening it's fine in the moment. And that's also like, it's easy to say, but it's like in interactions with women, it's when you are not here in your head, it's like, it's hard to describe, but it's like, I don't care as much anymore if like there's not this fear of rejection. It's like, and I think partially I learned that via doing circling. It's like you check in with another person often it's like you have like what happens when you go like deep into these states. It's like you have intuitions about people, but sometimes they are wrong. But you can go and check, and then they will tell you, no, that's not how I feel. But then that's fine. Yeah, and actually I think that's part of what helped me, like with not being attached so much to what is happening. It's like whatever, like I will be wrong about assumptions about other people, but that's fine. It's like there's less like this fear of being wrong. Like it's fine to be wrong about people, but it's a way to connect. It's like you can connect with people on this new level. And like, yeah, I feel like that has helped me so much with like not being so attached anymore. And it's like a rejection can also be a good thing, because then it was just not meant to be in that connection. And often you wouldn't even know. Like when you don't like go for it, you often don't know. And like it's almost like the rejection, then it's like it's helpful because you got to that place quicker of realizing. Else, like I talked about my fantasy love in the introduction, like you don't even know what's going on in reality. Like you're in your head and you imagine all these things and nothing ever happens in real life. So yeah.
Yeah, if you don't approach life, then you can just make all these ideas in your mind. You can say, hey, she's a bitch, right? And also you can make all these ideas, but when you go do it, you find out the truth. Like you said, you have a misrepresentation of somebody, right? But you only find that out by actively going to them, right? And then finding out with an open mind, right? You might be right? But you find out.
Yes, and it's all these what ifs. Like, what if I did that? What if I did this? And that goes away. There's no what ifs anymore. There's either do it or don't do it, and then you move on. And if you don't do it, like I feel like I notice much more. Like when I don't when I avoid things, like I notice so much more. Like, oh, there's this hesitancy. Sometimes that's fine, but then you miss out on that, on these kinds of things. And also, which is it's not fully related, but what also came up for me right now is like traveling helped me so much, like to get that outer world freedom. And then I was like, wait a minute, but I'm still unfree. I'm traveling, I'm still unfree, like inside. Like there's this inner unfreedom of like hesitancy, like. But the outer freedom helped. It's almost like, yeah, the outer freedom helped me to notice, oh right, I'm still not like. Freedom is like the number one. It always was my number one value, but it was like this kind of freedom you have when you sit by yourself in your room. That's also a freedom. Like for me, at least, it was like this freedom of no one being there, and like there's a freedom in that, like not feeling watched or feeling like there's a freedom in that. But that's like it's not the real freedom. Like real freedom is you can do whatever you want. You can go out into the world and you do what you want without thinking about what people will say, how people will react. I still have that to some degree, like, yeah, but it's less and less. Like, do I have that? I do what I want these days. Like, when am I afraid of people react? Like, not much anymore. Like I was hiding a lot of my true nature, and that's mostly gone. It's like I notice I'm talking myself into it. It's really nice. It's like don't give a shit what people will say anymore. Like I do what I want, and then the right people will come into my life from that. Yeah.
I'm gonna say something.
Yeah.
Talking to you off on the side, I've taken a Meisner acting technique, and how you were saying how you down in Austin were doing circling, because that's apparently, you were telling me, one of the capitals of circling or something, which I had no idea. But I came to the realization that, yeah, there is a meditation technique where you focus on everything around you instead of just focusing on your breath or some other type thing. But I didn't realize that, yeah, that's kind of what we were doing in our class, was a form of meditation. And it just was like a little revelation. I was like, I didn't get that before. But I've known in my own life with meditation and getting out of your head as far as talking to women or not. That's so true that you get in your head and you're like, oh, what if she doesn't like me? What if I could look stupid going up there? And then you just kind of have to take a second, breathe and relax and feel your body and where you're at and go, fuck it, I'm just going to go do it, And over time, that does help. So really cool.
I think I was gonna say one other thing too is like I was driving with Brent. We were along the coast and we were kind of traffic, so we saw a car and there was a girl and she was like had a barbecue thing going on there. And then Brent's like, "What are we having for dinner?" And like out the window, right? He yelled it, and she's way over there. And then she just ignored us totally. And then he said something else. He said, I forgot what it was, but it was funny, And then it was the first time she ignored him totally, right? She was facing the other way, she's cooking, we're in a car. He's yelling through the window from the driver's side across my side, But it was the second time is when she turned around. So what people will do, when you are active as a man and you go and especially in sales, most sales, they turn them down 7 times. So people say no 7 times before they say yes. So what people think is they're going to approach, they're going to be a man. They're going to go get that job. They're going to do whatever it is. They're going to take that risk. But then if it doesn't go that very second the way they want, or if anything is just uncomfortable, you have to circle through that. You have to sit there because things are not going to go perfectly. So it's not just the approach. It's until the connection happens. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm going to circle, I'm going to be comfortable, then I'm going to walk over there, and then I'm going to fall apart. So it's like a more full thing all the way through. And then if it turns out to not go good, like you said, not to take it personally, but I'm saying it's not just a moment. It's like a life. It's like a way of living, right? You go up, see what's there. What's going to happen here?
Yes, and then also, as you were talking, I realized it helped me so much with being more aware of, like, you also can see signs. Like, you notice, like, when you're with a girl, you notice who's interested and where there's, like, you get so much more savvy in, like, reading. I should speak for myself, but reading body language, which is what you were also talking about. Like, you're so much more in tune with her nature, and that helps so much, especially like when you have a connection, and like you can almost, like, you can tune in so much more into who she is, and yeah, it goes so much deeper when that can happen.
It did not occur to me until you just said it and you kind of went along the same line. It didn't occur to me that I could be at a party and I could choose that, I want to talk to this person, and I'll approach that person. That didn't occur to me, because usually it's like you're at a party and whoever you happen to be sitting next to, you kind of strike up a conversation, and kind of like the idea you could like walk in and, I want to talk to that guy. He seems interesting, and like going up and approach him. Like as you're saying that, I was like, whoa, yeah, nothing. You could actually do that. Like that's whoa. I'm gonna practice that. Like circling. I'm definitely gonna practice this when I go home. This is cool.
I want to go on that one. This is important. So when I moved to Vegas, I wanted to make friends. So my friend had a big party. It was like a big, overly fancy party, wasting tons of money. But anyway, I was invited and I was there and there was all these people and I was new in Vegas. I didn't know anybody, right? And so I said, you know what? It's mostly guys, a lot of girls, but at this party I wanted to make connections with dudes because people doing stuff in Vegas. What kind of businesses are here? What kind of people are here? Who can I meet? What kind of groups? What's happening, right? And I was just in the mode, I thought. And so then I thought, when I was standing there, when I came in the door, it was very intimidating. It was a really fancy house up on top of a hill, like fancy. Everybody was fancy, right? And like tuxedo type guys, And I'm standing there and I thought, use your PUA stuff, for meeting these guys. So that's what I did. So my mindset for that is here's the way you do it. Here's the better mindset, the way you're saying. Because what guys will do is they'll think, okay, I want to talk to this person, whether it's an important person or whatever. What I do is I'm going to talk to everybody and find out who's worth talking to in this party. So I'm just going to kind of meet every single person, kind of not like a robot, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I'm just going to slowly go over, kind of open everybody up over time, and then just have a discussion, see how it goes. And then there's plenty of other people, so just bounce around. Then you can always bounce back. So anyway, I was sitting there, and everybody else was frozen at this party because they were all like Vegas socialites standing there. So it was really a success for me. So what happened was I came in, and I did, when you're so nervous, you can't really see the party. You're just kind of like, I just came in, I saw like hot girls, I saw like fancy dresses and dudes in tuxedos and the view and everything. I just kind of like mind, like a tunnel, vision, right? And I went over and got a Coke or whatever to drink. And then I just thought, okay, I'm going to do it right now. So I started just talking to people, talked to some young guys that were, I don't know, they weren't bouncers, but they seemed like bouncer kind of guys near the door. They were just young guys. They're shy, They were at the party, so I talked to them. And then that went really good. We're high-fiving, talking. And then like somebody else came in, and I talked to them. And I went on, and then finally what happened was there was this like, the den went down. Like sometimes the sofas, you sit on a sofa like that. Sometimes they go down. I don't know what that's called. What's that called when the living room goes down to the sunken living room. So it's a sunken living room. So I kind of worked my way around, and then I realized over time that there was these guys in the sunken part that was standing there, and nobody would approach them. It was like there wasn't that much room, and also nobody was going. And I thought, this is interesting. So I went down there, and they kind of they were like, and they made space, and I just sat there, and then we started talking, and then I realized these were the guys to know, right? These were the guys the one was the mayor of he was like a big deal, right? And there was the other guys, the owner of the house, and all the power players were all there. And so I just went down there just thinking I'll talk to them. And I started talking, and we didn't have much to talk about in the beginning. And then the main guy, I think he was the mayor or whatever, he said, we started talking. I said I lived in Japan. And he goes, oh, I was, when I was young, I was in the military, and we were stationed in Japan. That was it. Boom. He wanted to talk about Japan, Japan in the 60s or whatever. And we started talking, and he's like getting my number. He's like, we got to hang out, It was so good back then, he's telling me. And it totally changed because the connection I had, people would come in and try to get into the discussion. And it wasn't that I was keeping them out, but it was that we were having so much fun that it made no sense to bring them in because they didn't know anything. Like we were like, he was on a roll. He was just like, and then also he transformed from a business guy to this young soldier, right? That kind of thing. And I get emotional. It's weird, but that connection, it was amazing. And then somebody tried to tear me away from the party. It was so weird because I think they were like jealous of what happened. It just kind of happened naturally, but it was just using my PUA thing of just talking to everybody just to see who's worth talking to, and then making connection, But people actually, this is another thing, the higher level. People get jealous when you do everything right. They try to break it up, and they pulled me away. And so we never talked that much. I never met him again. But the guy would have definitely met up with me for sure. So I've noticed whenever I do something like this, where it's like I had some kind of a scope that could read the room for somebody that I had a connection with and I could do stuff with, right? You know what I mean? What I needed at the time. I was making serious plans, right? So I needed some serious business going, right? And he was the kind of guy to talk to, right? He was the perfect guy. And it was like, right. And then somebody who ended up being a very narcissistic individual pulled me out of there because they didn't like it. And they said, oh, you're a real social butterfly and this and that. And I'm not a social butterfly. I don't exchange business cards. I'm just looking for someone worth talking to that we can connect. That's all I do at parties. And so that's my mindset. And then if somebody is not worth talking to, then it never happens, right? So, that's combining being comfortable, approaching with knowing that there's somebody that's more interesting than other people to talk to, and that, and then people feel they know, but you're not trying to get something from them, right? It's like, oh, here's my card. I do this. I'm a so-and-so, what do you do? It's like you never make a connection, right? So it's very, very meaningful, and you can kind of like that guy in the movie last night. He met the guy who was the arms dealer at the table, whether that was, an accident or not. That's the kind of thing that happens when you do what you're saying, is you meet the arms dealer that you want to meet, or you meet the guy who has the power, because you're in this state where you're looking. And I was the same way with girls. I would look for the girl who wants to fuck tonight. That would look through the whole party, and I knew there was one girl who wants to fuck right now, maybe in the bathroom. I didn't have to convince her. She wanted to, right? There's somebody, girls are horny, right? There's some girl who wants to do that. So I just kind of go around, and then I would see the look, and then I would just go in. And then I remember one girl, I had a party, we could cross the party, and I looked at her, and I forgot what I said. I said something like, I said, I know.
You said you are so wet right now.
No, I don't think I said that. I think I said that later. My first thing was I go, I know. I go, I know. And I just faced right at her with my eyes open, super present. And then she's like, you know what? And I go, I know. And then she I broke her down the second one. She goes, how did you know? And I was like, I just knew. I just looked at you. And then that was when I said, and I moved in. And I could feel it. I could feel it. And I went in and I had the confidence to break through that first initial thing. Because what are the odds? Because I'm also insecure sometimes too, right? Am I right about this one? Maybe this is the one I'm wrong. So I am careful. But you got to take chances to do what you're doing. You know what I mean? You're taking chances. That's what you're not talking about. It's like a rough and tumble thing, right? It's not just being present. It's fucking taking chances, right? And huge possibilities. Because you make real connections with humans that you want to connect. Fuck.
Yes, and that I don't know who talked about it. IOIs, indications of interest. You notice so much, like what you said. You notice that kind of interest, and it's not even sometimes it's a girl who really wants to fuck. But sometimes it's also a girl who really wants to fuck you. And you won't miss that anymore. You will not miss out on that. You will notice. And it's you are still wrong sometimes, but sometimes you just know. You just know that there's a connection there. Yeah. You don't even know how you know. It's not nothing that happens in your head making sense of it. It's in your body that something is happening there. It's
yeah.
And you will not miss that. I've missed. I know a few where I've missed out on that, when there was interest and I was lost in my head and I didn't even notice. Which is what happens often in the dynamic, right? Guys miss out on the signals that women sent them, that's what happened for me.
Yeah. I think somebody said in the beginning. Who was it that said that you had a red flag and you ignored it? Somebody said in the very beginning. They had a red flag. I can't remember who it was. Somebody said they had a red flag and then they ignored it and they went and that led to their divorce. They had a bad relationship. I can't remember who it was, but anyway.
Oh, it was the guy who's not here. He was on the.
Oh, okay. No. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was Mr. Smith, right? Yeah, it was. Yeah.
You knew right away, and then
it was Mr. Smith. And when I was younger, I started to realize I had this intuition. I think every man has it. But I started to realize I had intuition. And, we're told we don't have intuition. Men, completely wrong. But anyway, so then I started to kind of intuit things, and then I would realize they're true later. And then I had a real test. So I was screwing my boss. I worked at Pfizer when I was in college, right? And so after the terror store. And so I was getting money to go to Japan. So actually, it was just after college, yeah. And so Kim, my boss, right? I don't know why. I can't remember why. I think I broke up with her. But anyway, we were broke up. And so then I came to work one day, and she just came in. It was right after we broke up. And she kind of came in just briskly. And then this other guy came in about 30 seconds later, a minute later. And I thought, I think they're together. I think they just got together. And I thought, I'm going to take a chance. And I wasn't really, honestly, I was not jealous of Kim. She must have had a yeast infection. She had this smell. Anyway, yeah. But she was pretty and everything, but oh man. But she didn't have the hygiene down. But so anyway, I just thought, I just really wanted to test my intuition. So I went up to her And I said, why did you have to screw him? You know, we work with him. And I was like, you know, like usually you wouldn't do that. But I really wanted to know. In this really way, I know a lot of guys are going to listen to this and are going to say, oh, he was jealous. He's trying to break. I really just wanted to know. It was a perfect chance to test if it was right. And she looks at me with this like alarm face, and she goes over to him. She goes, word, finished. She goes, of all people to tell him. And the guy's like, I didn't fucking tell him. The guy's like, I didn't say shit. She's like, well, how did he know? And then he was like, dude, I have no, you know, and he's like sitting there trying to get out of it. I didn't mean to do that. And I wasn't really particularly happy about it. I was happy Kim screws this guy. But I just it gave me immense satisfaction that my intuition was correct. And so, you know, your intuition is correct a lot of times when you are like this. So, I don't know what it's called, but in the moment, trusting yourself. So those intuitions, I think, are like, I think for men, I think it's something like the tigers looking through the fucking trees. And you got a flash of eye, and we're the ones who survived. Of all the humans that died, we're the ones who were like, that was a tiger eye. There's a fucking tiger. It's like, we didn't really see it so fast. It's almost like, it's like subconscious. But we're the guys, literally, we're the guys who survived all those things. It's trusting that. It's like intuition, because you didn't see the tiger eye. Right? Your logic, you didn't see it, but you knew, and it's because it came for 100th of a second or something, right? It's a gut thing. It's actually a physical thing that triggers a gut thing too fast for a logical thing. And I think we have intuition as men just because we survived evolution. We're each one of us is like literally one out of many millions of people. I'm not kidding. We are all like miracles, like all of us. We all survived tigers and snakes and all this shit. All of us fought to the death, you know, all of our relatives. And we were the ones that made it. The hundreds of millions of guys who didn't, they're the other guys. We're the guys who made it. You know, we talk about women having like evolved to hypergamy and everything. You guys, we fucking evolved on this one. Trust yourself.
Yeah, 80% of communication is nonverbal.
Yep. Totally.
You ever work with guys for a while? You don't even have to talk.
Yeah.
You don't even have to talk. You come in and you know, I'll go to other countries and, you know, they'll know by just a little bit of sign language, you know, like simple stuff, you know, how to lead something. I noticed when I led cleaning up this place, I barely said anything. Put everything in the other room. Yeah, clean up the floor and put all the bags in that room. That was it. Everybody just went boom, 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 boom. I mean...
But without your leadership, I didn't know what to do with the bags. Like, I was thinking, if we stack up the bags, it's still going to be messy. So it would actually be important what you did. You made the key decision. The bags should be in that room.
All of them.
And that changed everything. And that's why the guy's happy and wants us to stay another night. It's because it was so clean. It was like respectful, you know?
Yeah, and like when you're leading, when we're going, we're just, okay. We didn't ask 100 questions about where we were going. You just walked down the street and ended up at wherever you ended up to do the meeting. You didn't write down, we're going here at this time, at this place, and then talk to us, have a bunch of questions. Matter of fact, you didn't tell us at all where we're going.
Because I didn't know.
We just walked.
Yeah, we were looking for a good place. And the only thing is you're not on the group chat. I got to get you on the group chat. There's gold on there. Like there's like 100 messages today on there. Where we're going, what we're doing. So a lot of the stuff is there on the group chat, on Telegram.
Okay, for me, anyways, whatever. Like, I didn't need it all.
Right.
We just went. Yesterday. Yeah. Wherever we went, we just followed you to go to wherever, and we had a great meeting.
Yeah, I don't like overly organized kind of things. I like what needs to be done. You know? Superman, right? He just fucking sits around doing shit until there's an act, something goes on. And then he fucking does it, right? I like that. What needs to be done just gets done, you know? So a lot of the guys come here, that's why we stay together, because we're present, and then the moment's right, and then we go. And if anybody goes off too much, they're not in the, you know what I mean? It's like important because they're not hearing, and they're like, when is something happening? It's like, well, it's happening all fucking day and night, you know. It's just being here, you know. It's like all the group decisions are all happening, right? Based on what needs to be done, what the moment, right?
Which is like the circling, but in real life. You are open to whatever is coming out of the present moment. And what is here right now? That's one of the core questions in circling. What is happening right now for you, for us, and all of that? So it's
See,
like
you just read me totally because I'm not on the group chat, so I wanted a little bit more what was going on, but it was, whatever. You know, without hardly communicating, you knew that I needed a little more, and no problem.
As I said to the messages, yeah. But I was super worried because we're recording, and then my phone's there, right? So I was worried you're going to send a message. So I kept walking over,
Don't worry. It's okay.
cool. Any other thoughts?
I want to say something that I was thinking last night, and I said it this morning, and Sean was like, yeah. One thing I would say is that yesterday when you came in, or Friday, you have a very open vibe, right? And you look at people, and also I think too, the eyes. You know, you have like very unusual eyes, right? So my dad's the exact same color, so to me I'm used to it, but he's exactly, that's the exact same color. So, but you have a presence, and one thing I would say, so that you can see yourself from the outside, is also you're tall, right? So when you face, like, so stand up, I'll show you. So when I face, if I'm tall and I face you, it's uncomfortable, and because it's a pressure. When men get close to each other and face each other, whereas if I go like this, hey man, check this out. What do you think about that? Yeah, we should go over there. And yeah, exactly. He's very comfortable, right? How does that feel?
Much more comfortable.
Right, now I go like this.
Kind of intimidating.
Right. And if I touch you here, it's like uncomfortable. So there's body language that you can do. And so what it also feels too is when you're too open and facing a guy and like open, it feels like you have sexual interest in them. That's what it felt like to me last night. And yeah. And so that even though it's not true, but that was the vibe. So one thing you can do to kind of what do you call that? Attenuate that or control that, limit that, is you can do things like, for example, facing away. And tall people have to do this more than short people. If you were shorter, you would have a different vibe, right? Because you're tall, right? Because everything about what you are, this is what you learn, especially in PUA, that every person's different. You have to learn how you affect people, right? So is you can face people away more, right? And when you look at somebody, when you touch them, don't look at them and touch. So for example, if I go like this and I go like this, I look at you. Strange, right? Whereas if I go, hey,
yeah, more relaxed.
I'm touching him the same, except for I'm not looking and touching. So when I look and touch, it's and especially look, touch, and face.
Yeah.
It's like totally different, right? So once you know those little body language tweaks with men, you'll be able to present who you are better in certain situations, And like in a circling thing, everything you do naturally is perfect. Like today, this is like exactly what you're doing is perfect for this meeting, and the meeting is fantastic.
And Paul,
Yeah.
I have a friend that looks just like me, but he's 6'5".
Oh.
And he looks just like me, only he's heavier.
Yeah.
He weighs 360, and we hang out. But he has this thing I had to tell him, like, he'd walk up to me and stand this far away, and I have to go, and I'm not intimidated. I've been short of my whole life. I played all these sports, so I don't care. But I noticed I had to go, hey, dude, I don't want to hurt my neck, so I need to stand here, okay? Yeah.
Right. So the distance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Iranian guys do that. I have a lot of Iranian
Iranian
friends.
and
They
Chinese
come
stand
right in
here.
my face.
Hi. How you doing?
Yeah.
They'll be with their father and grandfather when I'm traveling. and their dick is almost touching my butt when I turned around in line. And then so is the grandpa and so is the dad. Like touching each other's hips. And I'm like, whoa, I'm American. We usually stand about this far apart. They're like, huh? I'm like, yeah. And then I turn around and then his dick's almost touching my butt again. I'm like, anyway.
Yeah, because that's his culture. That's his. He
Yeah.
can't even tell. He doesn't even know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Anyway, I had to throw it out there.
Yeah, I got a good one for you guys. If you go to, let's say Japan in particular, but I think all of Asia, one thing I learned, which was these lessons are hard to learn. It's hard to change.
Yeah, it's like
It's very hard to change. You know, it is really hard to change your mannerisms. You know, the way you do things. Right.
Yes, and then also like what you it triggered so much when you in me like so many thoughts like I'm what you described is probably like an going too far the other direction at times now. I feel so open, I feel this freedom, and what happens then is like an overcompensation or something. And then I feel like sometimes you have to, one of my favorite quotes is like, sometimes you have to go too far to realize you're going too far, and then you can rebalance the scale.
Yeah.
Like,
Like
and it's like, but it's great feedback. I haven't heard that. Like it's like, and I'm aware like sometimes that could happen. Like, it's like
with
it's
the eye
like,
contact, what makes it more powerful is when you look away, and then when there's something to do or reason, then you look at them, and you're looking at them, and because they're talking or they're saying something interesting, and you're looking at them, and then when they're not, you're like, and it's like a laser. It's coming on, and then it's going off. Because if it's just always on, people feel like they're being interviewed or interrogated.
and it's intimidating at times.
It can
And then
be tough.
combined with like being tall, I see.
And even girls too, like you want to make a connection, but same time, girls also are like.
If it's too much,
Can
it's
be
too
like
much
that.
too quickly.
Here-
Like
here's-
that's
here's-
the like tuning into.
Here's a
it.
good
They're
Asia.
play from fear. Women are almost always afraid. They come from a fear-based. They're afraid all the
Right.
time. All
Yeah.
the time.
Right.
So they do tell you to stand sideways. Never go like this to them.
Right.
Matter of fact, I'm a short guy. For some reason, people think I'm intimidating. So I've been told that over and over. I have to remember to look away from the eyes once in a while and to smile. 'Cause I
Right.
get this dead look, and I guess
Yeah.
I look intimidating. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I have to remember to smile and do like look away a little. All my old friends tell me that after I haven't seen them in years. Like, dude, you got this crazy look.
Right. And that's a good thing. I mean, they're telling you got a good thing. It's they're just saying that
Yeah.
use it wisely, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because not everybody's like being intimidating is a good thing. Basically, every guy wants to be intimidating. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh yeah.
Whenever you
Guys
get
want to
that
be strong.
voice, like,
They fucking want to do it for sure. You know,
oh,
that's a
right.
masculine trait for sure, and it's awesome. You know, and only the jealous guys would not tell you that. But here's what I learned in Japan. It was really a great lesson. So, I was in Japan, and I just kind of had some not bad experiences. Everybody was nice. Everything was great, but there was things that happened, and I couldn't understand what was happening. I was uncomfortable, and so then I was in a store one time, and I turned around and talked to my friend, and my hand knocked a glass off the counter right of the store. And the thing is, in California, this is a huge state. California is bigger than Japan, but there's like no people here, right? So you hardly see people in California. It's so big, yeah. But in Japan, there's always tons of people everywhere, right? And there's no space. Even like a millimeter or a centimeter is a big deal. Like if your house is a millimeter bigger or a centimeter bigger, you notice it. Your chairs, you never have space. There's never space to put down a bag. You have to put it under your chair, right? You know, so you just kind of get used to these things. You know, when you live there. And what I hadn't gotten used to was body language in public or even in private. So what I would do is I'm American, right? So I grew up here in Arizona. So I'm very, more like Italian. I use my hands, and I would turn around, and then I knocked that up, and I felt so clumsy, which is really, I've never been a clumsy person. So, like, I've never thought of myself as a bull in a china can. I've always been this kind of stealthy ninja type. That's always been the way I move and the way I think. And but so it was really embarrassing to realize I was being a total like oaf, And then I asked somebody. So I said, kind of humble. I asked somebody. I said, what am I doing wrong? And then he said, "Oh, the Japanese friend." He goes, "When you turn around in Japan, you have your hands at your side always." So I had my hands up. So he said, "Have your hands." So you turn around, and your hands are at your side. Then you can move them out, right? If there's space there,
Yeah.
but there might not be space. So you just keep your hands on kind of on your side, and then you're kind of, and then you're just always aware that there's a lot of stuff
There's
everywhere.
no space.
Yeah, there's no space, you know. So that was really good for me, is like to learn that lesson. In Asia, you see people. This goes really deep too. The way all these people get along and live together. When you first get there, you feel like you're going to be suffocated, but then after a while, you realize there's tons of tools that you use. And whenever my friends visit me in Japan, they're always like, "How can you take this subway? There's so many people." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I guess there are." You know, I'm totally in my own world. I'm standing the right way. I'm not facing anybody. I'm not making Japanese uncomfortable. You know what I mean? And I can get to the door on time. So like, you know, there's the door to the subway. And let's say we have 8 stops. So I'm going to move forward like 6 inches at each stop. So I'm just going to kind of just move my way up. And then as we get to my stop, I'm just going to go out. And that's the Japanese way. And you kind of learn that over time. You don't just wait and then just, I got to get all the way over, you know. Yeah. And at the same time, you don't want to take the gate, the near the door, because that's for the guys who are getting off the next one.
Yeah.
It's subtle, and not everybody follows these rules, but this is the classy way to be in Japan and the way to do it, you know. So it's like there's a lot of levels that you learn, and I thought that was very interesting for me and just totally new. And yeah, I felt like a fucking oaf, and that's a good thing, because there's always things we can improve, right? Yeah.
Cool. I hope it didn't stop. 51? No, it looks like
It
something
should-
something happened. I don't know.
It's good. It's good. No problem. Yep, still going.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, great stuff. Oh yeah.
Are we gonna practice something or?
I mean, we could. Yeah. I don't know. It's probably best to not record it. We could do some.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably best.
Well, why not?
That's why not?
Yeah, when you say that, when it's said like that, I mean, why not?
It's
But
maybe
there's
less
always
audible
there's-
to hear.
there's, I mean, we can also record it and decide if that
Could be clumsy.
can be uploaded, but
Yeah.
it's like
You could do it like a radio guy instead of a TV guy. He's like, well, the pitch was a little bit outside to the left, and he describes it.
Like
instead of-
narrating.
Yeah, instead of like foul ball or whatever, you know.
Hey, I was going to ask for some input, but you guys can, if it's better left for another session, that's fine. But get it out here. Like when you were talking about the Vegas party, I knew I had to ask, and it has to do with the topic of presenting yourself out there and not caring about outcome. And this is, I'm directly asking for help. It's one of my biggest challenges in life now is when I go to a event or a party, in particular to network with guys. That's why I'm asking. Like, that's my problem. I can actually vibe really well with girls, but believe it or not. Even though I learned how to do that inappropriately as a married person, but whatever, I still learn shit. I mean, one nice side effect of the bad behavior. Oh, so nasty. But it's more important to me now to network with like-minded, find and network with like-minded men. It's much more important to me now. My problem is I don't feel like I have enough value to add, other than being a congenial, friendly kind of guy. I can be helpful and all that. So a way to ask the question is, if I was at that Vegas party with the sunken room of big players, my problem is I envision myself having the confidence I can stand tall and walk down to that sunken area. Hey man, my name is Monkey. Really good to meet you. And after that, I got nothing. Because I haven't been to Japan. Like in Ronin's example, he could talk for hours about Japan experiences. And you could talk for hours about your whatever. Everybody's got value-added stories and experiences, whereas now this isn't entirely true. I'm mocking my situation. What am I going to say? Oh yeah, in my 20s I was an employee and I needed girls' validations and I drank a lot. You know, And then, oh yeah, I got married and it was really bad and I got some DUIs and she had to drive my ass around. And then in my 40s, oh yeah, I was half-assing it in my career because I was scared to pursue something else. And you know what I mean? So it's like, it's kind of weird that the only environment where I think I have value to add is like self-help kind of like groups where you can talk about, I can talk about what I did wrong. And I can add value to younger people on here's what not to do, or if you're struggling this, I can give some advice. So it's like, but if I really want to grow and network with whatever, high value people, like I don't feel like I have enough value to add like to that mayor guy.
I got a simple answer.
Other than just chit chat, like what do I do? I don't have 10 years to gain those
Here's a
stories.
simple answer. Here's the first step. People mention Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Get people talking about themselves.
Yep.
I mean, that's the first thing. If you don't know what to talk about, get somebody talking about themselves. Them,
That mayor was talking, not me.
yeah. I mean,
Telling me stories.
be a good listener at first. Get them, and then say, hey, what do you do here? And what, how you know this guy and what's going on, and get them going. And that will stimulate you to find common ground. And then the discussion, then you can end up, it expands and you have no idea where that's going to go. And then that's one thing real quick. The other thing is, and I can say this for myself, maybe I had a lot of adventures when I was younger, but maybe none recently. Maybe that's a stimulation to, hey man, maybe it's time to explore and start having some adventures so that you're stoked to be the guy that starts talking. Anyway, that's all I got to say.
Thank you. That's great. So if I distill this is awesome because I think there was at least 3 things there. Like start by listening, which is great, which is actually validating because I can do that. I feel like I can do that. I can listen and empathize. And 2, it was, I forget what 2 was, but 3 was go out and get some adventures because that doesn't need to take years and years. Damn, there was something else in the middle there. Start.
Like you're saying,
and have faith.
years, yeah.
And maybe have faith in something will emerge, common ground will emerge, even though I don't see it yet. So thanks. Thank you for that. That's great. I can do that. That's actionable. It's not just abstract.
That was my biggest reason for not talking to people was I felt like I would just kind of be bothering them.
Yeah.
I would talk to them. They really wouldn't be interested in something that I had to say. And so it was better if I just didn't bother them. It would almost be like hurting them, wasting their time, talking to them just for my sake. But I found that I may have something valuable for somebody, or I might not. Like you, can I say what you do? So you're software engineering. That's valuable to some people. Some people aren't gonna want to talk to you. But it's like when Ronin was talking to that mayor, he didn't, mayor, I'm going to talk to him. Now I'm valuable to him. He was talking to somebody, and then he happened to be valuable to the mayor, and then he started talking to him. And I found that, like you're in your 50s, like you're valuable. Like talking to you is going to be valuable to a decent amount of people, at least, And so when you're talking to him, you just find out like, okay, this guy goes to raves a lot. He's 19. I'm not going to have a lot of value for him. It's fun to talk to him and say, hey, but there's other people who are really going to find value. Like especially a young person who's coding is going to be very interested in talking to you. And so just talking to people, you can find out who you're valuable to. And then somebody will go, ooh, you're really interesting. And that's what I found is that people would have interest in things that I was talking about. Not a lot of people don't, but it was worth it to find those people, because you're valuable to somebody.
Okay.
Oh, key
Thank you.
thing Ronin Man was talking about. I practice the same thing. I don't know where I came up with it, but in my other men's organizations, we'll meet with the other bigger crew of guys over in Silicon Valley, and we'll all get together. We have 30 in Santa Cruz, and then we have 3,000 men around the country, and we get together, and there'll be maybe a couple hundred or whatever over the hill, and I'll make it a point. I'll walk up to every guy and say, hey, how you doing today, da-da-da, just like he did. That's key on meeting people, Because it's true. People stand in little groups, they have their own different reasons, and you that's a way, man. That's a way to all of a sudden you'll find people.
They want to meet people. That's why they're at the party.
They want to do that.
Yeah.
But most people can't.
Right.
So I'll just go say hi to everybody in the room and see what happens, man. It's incredible what happens, actually.
Yeah, I think too. Like my for me, I like just a personal thing, but I don't have I have a very strange skill set. You guys who listen to the channel, you guys understand me, but most people would not at all, right? And have no comprehension where I'm coming from. So, but I have a faith. I was it? There's a beetle. I think it's called a dung beetle or something. But it has the skill of moonlight navigation, which other animals don't have. And I thought, I'm kind of like that. Like I have some weird skill that I just have faith that my skills will come in handy at some point. Because most people, they have very clear skills. I'm a licensed CCMA, and yeah, I'm this, I have this. And for me, it's just like a bunch of eclectic skills and experiences, right? But I just have it. I have faith that things are gonna work out. I'm gonna be able to use those skills for things. And I think I've resisted what my whole life people have told me. Get a license, get this, move into this, and make it clear. And I'm like, no, I'd rather have like a ton of interlapping skills that and experiences, and trust myself that those will be useful to some people. And other people they meet me, they think I'm lying about everything. They'll be like, no way, you didn't know. I was in Vegas, and I needed a place to stay after the whole breakup with the kid and everything. I didn't have a place to stay. So I was at this meeting, and then this guy said, oh, my friend has a house, halfway house. You can hang out there for a couple of days. So I called him up, and the guy said, so what's your story? And I told him my story. I lived in China, Japan, and the guy didn't believe a word I said. He didn't believe a single word I said. He thought I was some kind of just total scammer. He just had no idea. And I thought it was hilarious because I just thought, a guy like him, how would he know me, understand me? So I know that some people totally will not understand me, and that's just the way it is. And that's fine. He's not a bad guy. He just has no background for understanding me. He has no way.
His life has ever done that.
His life is, He's there's no pieces of the puzzle he's going to put together at all. He's just going to be like, well, where's your house here? Where do you live? Traveling for a lot of people wouldn't understand that at all. And they're just going to judge you.
Wow. Yeah, I have never thought like that.
You're
I'm with the surprise
you're a drifter, right? You're a drifter.
I'm with the surprise of it, but I've never realized yet. Some people might think I'm talking bullshit.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But it's also like, and this has helped. So many things are just projection, and I'm like, okay, I don't need you to believe me or something. I'm living my life, and what's so interesting.
For me, it's if you see Terminator 1, right? Terminator 1, he's talking to the guy, and then it says he has, it shows the multiple choice answers. The guy said something, and it said, get out of my way, I'm going over there, fuck you, asshole. He goes, and then C lights up, he goes, fuck you, asshole.
Yeah.
That's the way I do it with that in my mind. When someone doesn't believe me, I don't say it to them, but in my mind, it's just no hope, fuck you, asshole, and I'm done, and that works for me. I just don't take it seriously, there's no convincing these guys. They're not going to understand it. I mean, unless we were in a totally different situation. So, no time. Fuck it.
I need to process this, because when people ask me where do you live, I most of the time say everywhere or nowhere, and
exactly.
I don't, and it's people probably and I mean it in a joking way, but it's also the truth. It's
it's just so far
that's
out
funny.
of the reality.
People would that's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Most people.
It's what are you running from? Why I got a house you can live. Why don't you live?
I am actually completely free.
Yeah.
What you're saying, which is amazing.
for 4 years. Yeah.
I dream of doing that. That's my goal for my last third of my life, is to be gone every 2 months for a couple weeks or a month to anywhere.
You should learn from this guy, because this guy
That's
does
right.
it.
That's
4
right.
years, that's
Just
a
do
long
it.
I was trying
time.
to talk to
Well,
him
but it's also
last
like
night.
one of my favorite quotes. It's like freedom comes at a price. Like, not everything is great about it, but I would
Yeah.
choose it over anything else. It's like, yeah,
He's that way.
Yeah. Freedom comes at a price in the sense that you are not trusted by a lot of people. And a lot of people that I like kind of like stalwarts of the community, you know?
Yeah.
You know, those are the kind of guys who wouldn't believe me at all. Because their whole life is based on like integrity and doing things and making commitments in their
I
community.
own this house, and everything comes from that spot.
Yeah, my family's been here for 18 generations, and this is, and I am
50 years
this.
experience. Anyway.
Yeah, it's like that kind of thing, and it's like, it's really, when you're free, you really have to accept that people will actually think you're a scammer because you just are not in their box, and you can't take it personally. You can't. But you have to know that they will. It's important to know, so that as soon as you see it, don't try to convince them. Like, they just will not understand. It's
Yeah,
like,
I
oh,
decided not to tell people what I plan on doing. They think it's crazy, it's selfish, it's not right, it's even my own men's team think, like, what are you talking about?
yeah. It's no comprehension.
But I don't
right?
want what they got, and they're 70,
Yeah,
75. I'm like,
it comes fast, man.
absolutely don't want what they're doing.
70 comes fucking fast.
Yeah,
Fuck that. Fuck what people think, man.
exactly. That's
It's
why-
gonna be 70 tomorrow, right? It's like, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
There's so many light bulbs going off. Like
Yeah.
you're a special case, I can imagine. Yeah, I was in China, I was in Japan, multi-million-dollar businesses. Oh yeah, right, asshole. That's why you're calling a halfway house to
Yeah.
crash. That's why you eat
Yeah.
raw kale out of your bare hands. Oh yeah, sure you were. Sure you said that.
Yeah.
So like
Exactly.
if you can handle the
Yeah.
blowback,
Yeah.
I can handle the blowback, which would be like 2% of that.
Yeah.
It's like, what am
Yeah.
I worried about? Judgment.
Yeah, you fit into. I mean,
It's almost even worse though too. If somebody, let's say I come across a Chinese person, we start talking, like really talking, right? Then all of a sudden there's this kind of weird thing where they're kind of fascinated with you, and that's like weird too. That falls apart. I don't like that either. I just want them to ignore me. They're never gonna understand me. Fuck them, I can't. There's nothing there for me, It's cool. They're cool and everything. It's fine, but I can't, I don't want them fascinated with me, and I don't want them thinking I'm a scammer.
Oh god.
Or that I have superpowers. I don't want that either. Fuck that.
Here's
I didn't learn languages to fucking be Superman. I just like to connect with people.
Yeah.
And if you don't speak the language, you can't really connect that much. Like if we were speaking German, it would be a little deeper for you. A little bit deeper. Your experience would be, It's just there's something that a little bit you lose with that foreign language. Like I could do this in Japanese, I'd understand, but sometimes it helps really just to have somebody in English say some little word, like anything like that attaboy word, but it's a word that that it connects emotionally and brings you in there, right? So it's like, yeah.
Oh man, imagine like, so you're talking about finding the people who understand you and fuck the rest, right? So the extreme nightmare opposite of that would be, imagine you're at that, 2 examples. Imagine you're at that party and you found like 10 people that you could probably vibe with, but imagine you were forced to talk to one person for 5 hours at that party who didn't get you, and you had to exert all your energy to convince them to get you. What a nightmare that would be. How frustrating. Now imagine you're married to someone who doesn't get you, doesn't agree with you, doesn't understand you.
Oh God, you don't have to imagine. I already have that experience.
I was married to her,
life.
and that was my torture was, you're such a cool person, like checklist items. She's awesome.
Yeah.
But she doesn't get me, doesn't see why I want more variety of experience, doesn't understand my libertarian philosophy, doesn't understand my needs, doesn't. And imagine saying, well, I gotta keep trying. I just drew a parallel between that
Fuck you,
and a party.
asshole.
Yeah, fuck. And it took years to say, fuck you, asshole. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, oh.
Yeah, that's a great
Metaphorically,
point.
that's what it's like.
That's what a lot of guys are living with, somebody that they should be like, yeah, there's no connection. And they don't want to understand you. You know, they don't want to know that, they don't want to take the energy to learn the complexity of you, right?
And it's like we were at the beginning, oh, this is cool. But then when it started going like this, there's no way to prepare for that because I invested so much with whatever little information I had at the time, and then there's
Yeah, I had this girl, and she had all this like Asian stuff around the house, right? And she had like a license in Reiki or something, you know. And yeah, she had all this stuff, and to me, it was just so fucking fake. It was just like, I don't do any of that stuff. You know, all of the Asian culture is in my mind and thinking. You know, I don't need any outside thing to show anybody. I don't, unless it's something I want. Like if I want to have like a bamboo in the backyard, just because it works, maybe it blocks the view of something. Maybe it's the most practical plant to have. You know, maybe a bonsai would be the prettiest thing to have there, and I might do that. But it's like when you become real and you don't have to have these things to show people either. That's partly why people don't understand me. Because I don't make any attempt to show them anything that would help them. I'm just me. I just come up and I'm me. And that's it. And then if they can't find and accept, I know it's hopeless anyway. So I think it's the risk is that you try to show people who you are very clearly. You got your Harley thing on. You got your Harley. You got your leather jacket.
your credentials.
You're very clear who you are. And like these guys, I don't understand these guys because to me, it's just a marketing campaign, and they're total fucking idiots, you know. But yeah, they're just total fucking morons. Like we're in Kmart or something, you know. It's like it's the same thing, right? You know, Walmart brand or whatever that is. Great value clothes, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a great value clothes guy, you know. That's freedom, you know. And but for me, it's just like about internalizing all that stuff, all that good stuff. Just internalize it. Everything else is fake. I don't have to pretend like I'm Californian either, you know. I can just be me, you know.
Yeah, and then all the categories also fall away. Like you're just you, and there's no categories anymore. Like I don't know what to call myself. I don't feel German. Like
Yeah.
The one thing I do resonate a bit with is like digital nomad, because that describes it. Like I'm just on the move.
You're
and it's
trying
like,
to give people
but it's almost like
something to hold on to.
like I'm only doing that.
Yeah.
That there's something to put like, and also like people put you in categories anyway. Like you can't really, like, they do what they want, they think what they want, which is one of the things that's so great about this. You realize like a lot of the reactions of people is just their projections, insecurities and all that, and it's like that's also freeing. It's like everyone is really in their own world and you can't really control it, and when you want to control it or want to impress people, it's like and that's what happens a lot. I mean, I think all men have that to some degree. They want to impress women. Then the question is, how do you do that? Do you do that materialistically, which often, most of the time, leads nowhere? Like it's a shallow thing. No. And then it's like, it's like an inner journey and not like that outward bullshit of trying to impress people.
Yeah, I know for myself, just on that topic, I am very like, I know that if I get a cute dog, a little dog, right, the right kind of dog, I know the exact type of dog that's a perfect dog. And if I got that dog, it's cute as hell. And you walk around that dog, girls come running when you have that dog, right? And I know that. And I know certain things I could do. I specifically avoid doing any of those things because I know, one, it's all fake and lame, but it also makes me lazy too. The way I stay cutting edge is by not having anything to prove myself. I'm just me. Just like I don't have a gun, but I can fight. And I'll fight a guy with a gun. Like I'm not afraid of that. Or a knife. Yeah. But I don't have any of those things. It's like bare hands. Karate, right? Kara is empty, hand is te, right? Empty hand, right? It's like I'm just empty hand walking around, ready for anything, but I don't need anything to do the things I want to do. And I know that if I have certain things, it would help me. right? If you have a rocket launcher, you could cause a lot of damage, but I just, that's the compromise I don't want to make. If I have a tuxedo, I can go to a tuxedo party, right? But I don't want to have a tuxedo, you know what I mean? So I just realized you just minimize it because all of your value is just inside of you. So you can move wherever you want because it's always just inside of you. And if people can't see it or accept it, that's totally fine, and you understand that, but you just, move on, right?
Keep in mind, though, Paul is genetically good-looking, tall, blue eyes. He comes from his point of view, and everything he's saying is true. To be being authentic is important. However, in different cultures here, pussy's not free for most men. For him, it is sometimes. And sometimes it is for me too. But for most men, pussy's never free. There's a cost. And that's okay. That's the way it is here. That's what I realized finally, is things are the way they are. Let's say here in San Francisco, very few men are going to be able to walk around and get women without utilizing the way it is here. I mean, you happen to be gifted. I don't mind saying that. That's great. But a lot of guys can't. I mean, they will. They'll go buy a amazing car, McLaren or whatever, and it'll work for them. They'll get those,
Right.
And
That's just such a good point.
Because I just throw it out there.
Yeah, no, it's so true, man. And that BR, yeah, that's so true. Because, like the guys that listen to Ronin, man, they understand me, and they really, that's one thing I really appreciate about you guys, and because I put myself you guys really do understand me better than most people, really, truly. But one of the things is we can be honest with each other, right? So some guy in the comments said that very thing. He said, you don't have to pay, but most guys have to pay. He said, I have to pay. But he didn't say it in an angry way. He was just being super honest about it. And I thought that is so cool because we're both the same. He loves me and I love him. You know what I mean? We're both, but he pays and he has to pay. And he doesn't take it I have to pay. And we just have our different things, and it's but he just wanted me to know that it wasn't, you know what I mean? He didn't have anything about it. He's for me, this is the more practical way. And I understand that for you, it's not, but so there's just you're tall and you have a certain vibe. We have to find out who we are and learn to adjust our life based on basic principles, but then perfecting for, how the world reacts to us, right?
Everyone is on their personal journey. And it's yeah. And I don't know. Now I'm with that paradox. Yeah, everyone is on their personal journey, but also there's something happening here that it's almost there's this inspiration for everyone to go on their personal journey.
Yeah,
that's that's what I love so much about your videos. It's I hear it's very inspirational. It's I hear someone who is on their personal journey. And I want more people to actually, and I feel that's the connection point for me. I feel I'm on mine, and I feel a lot of people are not on theirs. And your videos are it's when I listen to it, it's a reminder that I'm on the right track. It's go on your personal journey, and so many guys get lost, and I did too. There's so many distractions on the way to that personal inner journey. So many outside distractions. Women are one of there's so many the corporate. Materialistic bullshit. I mean, obviously, I'm not against wealth and all that, but it's when you just chase it for its own sake, wealth, everything, chasing it just to be wealthy. What are you going to do with that?
Yeah, and I do want to say one thing too. Is everything that you have is pluses and minuses. So for me, a lot of times I just want to be an Asian guy. A lot of times because in Asia, always being a foreigner. It upsets the group, the balance. You come into a group of guys, and you're the one foreigner, and in Asia, it's a big deal. You're different, and whether it's good or bad, sometimes I just want to be a lot of times I just want to be the fucking same as everybody else. I wish there was a way to transform into just a standard Asian guy, and I could just walk around most of the time. because I don't want to. I'm not here to take advantage of even things that are gift. I just want to be a normal person, like I always have been. I've never wanted to be treated special either, and I quit being a professor because I realized the students had heard about me because I was teacher of the year, right? It's a couple times. So then the students would come. I respect you so much. I'm like, respect why? You never met me. This is the first day of class. And they're like, I heard about you. I'm like, I got to quit this job. Because I knew I was getting respect without doing anything. And it was going to kill me. Like, I always want to be on the cutting edge. Like, I'm always, like, fighting for the fucking respect. I'm always fighting for to explore and learn. It's never gifted. It's never just for free. I always want to be, that's why I don't like to carry the things. I always want to have to earn it every fucking day. And that keeps me fresh, right?
Yeah, you won't become complacent that way.
I'll get so complacent that way. Yeah.
Is so complacent, we don't have these good talks.
I want to always be forced to evolve and every day, right?
Wow.
That's my basic philosophy. Yeah.
Staying hungry.
Yeah, like but by being forced,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah, people really get comfortable and lazy.
Yeah, because they think that's the goal, is to get comfortable. You know? Yeah.
It's really a double-edged sword. All those guys think they're comfortable. They're kind of comfortable, but they're having a pretty lousy life at the end there. At 70, it's depressing, actually. Yeah, to see how their life is after all their year of commitment and integrity and staying in one place and sticking it out. It's like
Yeah, I think in the end you realize nobody cares. You know,
that's
and
why nobody cares.
Hey, nobody cares, and that's why freedom is so cool, because
Yeah.
people really don't care. Like, it's like fun, you know. And that's freedom, right?
Yeah.
The fact that they don't care, you know. Yeah.
Dude.
And then it's all about that perspective. Like you can say the same sentence in two completely different ways. Like what you talked about, the attaboy. Like you can either get lost in how depressing it is that no one cares, or you can say no one fucking cares. There's so much freedom in that.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, so much potential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
you
won't
don't-
get in the way if you don't let it. You know? Like, you think there's all this, but really it doesn't even matter. You can do whatever you want.
Whenever I struggle with this one, I always remember this. Those guys, and just, I mean, generally guys who, or most guys who are stalwarts, house, car, family, you know, same job, same community. How many guys go to, I don't know if you guys have ever been to a funeral, but if you go to these guys' funerals, it is the most depressing thing. Because after everything they did, you know, there's hardly anybody there, you know? And I realize that, you know what I mean? And it really, I see that, like, I knew a guy, he was in Japan, he worked for, what's that company? Not Koku, an advertising company, the big one. You guys know? Nobody knows that. It's a big advertising company in Japan. They do all the TV advertising, everything. They control the media. Anyway, he worked for them, lifetime employment, did everything right, retired with money, beautiful daughters, got, 3 beautiful daughters, had a nice wife, a real classic Japanese family. He did everything right. You know what I mean? He got the retirement, he bought the right house. Everything was right, you know. Smart, he's very smart. His girls are very smart. Everybody was successful. But when he died, when he was dying, I was around. And none of his, and he always talked about his company and the guys he worked with. Not one guy visited him when he was dying of cancer. They might have gone to the funeral, but nobody was there when he was dying of cancer. And I just thought, wow, what a farce this whole fucking thing is. This is the coolest guy, did everything right. And he's in Japan too, where they take it more seriously. Yeah. But in the end, for whatever reason, maybe they moved away, maybe they got old, I don't know, but fuck, man. You're putting all these eggs in this basket for this final hurrah that never comes, It's like, fuck that. It's all fate. It's all people are trying to build something, castles in the sky. It's just not. No one comes to your funeral. You know. Fuck it.
Yeah, it's what's going on now.
Yeah, what's going on today?
Today.
Yeah, you're in Bangkok cruising around. You're getting some fucking fried noodles, and you're fucking going around and meeting some people and fucking going to the beach. And,
Look at this. We
Yeah.
got a great view. We're all talking, learning.
Yeah.
You guys went for a walk. I got some great peanut sauce chicken and coffee, and I'm stoked.
yeah.
Great stuff.
Fuck, this turned into a very heavy one.
All right.
Just close it up. Cool.